I would like to conclude this topic by looking at one example, the integration of this function between the limits x is equal to 0 to x is equal to 0.8. In doing so, I'll try to reinforce some of the ideas as well as present new ones. This example is therefore very important. Now, if you take this function and integrate it between 0 and 0.8, we could do it by hand because it's a simple polynomial. We have done similar things in high school or in our first year calculus course. So you will get the answer to be this 1.64053334. That's the so-called correct value of the integral. So this is the true value. Now, unfortunately, let's say we do not have access to this function. All we have access to is the results of 9 experiments done on that system that is represented by that function. So somebody went ahead and conducted these 9 experiments. Experiment at x is equal to 0 that yields f0 which is equal to 0.2 and so on until the last experiment which is done at x is equal to 0.8 yielding a value of f to be 0.232. So this is the data that is given to us, and using this data we are supposed to find out the value of this integral between 0 to 0.8. The closer we are to this true value, we can say that integration method is accurate for this function. So let's see a few ways in which we can examine this integral. I will also show you corresponding MATLAB codes which are just translations of the formulae that we have looked at in the lecture notes. So there is a close correspondence between what I'm going to show and what we have already discussed. So you should pick up the elements from my code and try to understand it in the context of the equations that have been presented, and then you become good at problem solving. Now, before going further, I just want to introduce Boole's rule, which is even more accurate than Simpson's 1/3 or 3/8 rule. Boole's rule is like this, right? So it is based on 5 data points, f0, f1, f2, f3, f4, or otherwise x0, x1, x2, x3, x4. So it's based on 5 points. So it is a 5-point method. And this is the equation for the integral. 2h by 45 times whatever you see in the brackets. So you give a weight of 7 to f0 and f4, the first and last points. The middle points have weights. For f1 it is 32, for f2 it's 12, for f3 it is 32. As I said, it's going to be more accurate than Simpson's rule simply because we are putting in more effort in evaluating the function at many points. So we will touch upon Boole's rule in the example here. Now, how do you get this function? So you just choose 5 data points. You construct a 4th order interpolating polynomial and follow the same procedure as we did before. You will get this result. And such results are tabulated in many textbooks and internet sites, etc. So look for Boole's rule, or sometimes it is called the Newton-Cotes formulae and stuff like that. Okay, so kindly take a look. Now, if I solve this problem using trapezoid rule with 4 intervals, that means I'm taking, for that particular example, I'm taking this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. That means I am using h is equal to 0.2. That means I'm ignoring some of the points that are there. Like I'm ignoring this particular point, I'm ignoring this one, I'm ignoring this one, I'm ignoring this one. I just take it at x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 0.8 because those are the limits. And in the middle, I take x is equal to 0.2, 0.4, and 0.6. And I use the corresponding f values and the trapezoid rule formula to get an answer of 1.4868. That's the estimate of the integral. As you can see, that is quite far from 1.64053334, which is the true value. So there is quite a bit of error in this estimation, simply because of 2 reasons. We are making this decision based on only 5 data points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We ignored 4 other data points, this, this, and this. So if we made use of more data points, trapezoidal rule may have given us a better answer. That's one thing. Second, the inherent limitations of the trapezoid rule, which just assumes linear interpolation between successive points. So both of them contribute to the rather poor estimate of the integral. So what you see on the screen is that the curve f of x, the true f of x, is depicted by this black curve. And we are using the f values at x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0.2, x is equal to 0.4, x is equal to 0.6, and x is equal to 0.8 as the anchor points to construct trapeziums. So we have one trapezium, the second trapezium, the third trapezium, the fourth trapezium. So we apply trapezoidal rule to each of those four trapeziums, add it up. And then we have a grand formula for the trapezoidal rule for this. So this is what we are talking about in the previous slide. This is what we are talking about here as four intervals. Basically, this is one interval, this is the second interval, this is the third interval, this is the fourth interval, or equivalently four trapeziums. So you can see that at some intervals, the trapezium, the blue area, underestimates the area under the curve. For example, it misses out this area. It misses out this area. It misses out this area. So in three of the four intervals, trapezoid rule underestimates the area under the curve. In the second trapezium, it overestimates because the curve goes like this and the line goes like this. So this is an overestimated area. Overall, the underestimation dominates the overestimation, as you can see in this illustration. The white areas under the curve, if you add them up, that is significantly larger than the blue area under the line and between the curve. So that is why you get an underestimate of the value of the integral. Now, so this is just pictorial for us to get a first look at it, but then we will solve the problem using MATLAB commands. So this is the x data, this is the f data, and both of them are column vectors because I've used transpose here. So first off, I'm trying to use h is equal to 0.8. So that means I'm going to base my integral estimate on just one interval. So going back here, I'm going to consider only the data point at x is equal to 0 and the data point at x is equal to 0.8. So if I consider only these 2 points and I connect them by a line because I'm doing linear interpolation, that is what trapezoidal rule is about, the area that I'll estimate is this area. It is going to miss out a huge area that's under the curve. So therefore we will expectedly get a poor estimate of the integral value. So I get only 0.1728. So the command I use is trapz. I use only the first point and the ninth point. The first point is x is equal to 0 and the ninth point is x is equal to 0.8. So x brackets, square brackets open, 1 space 9, square brackets closed, ordinary brackets closed, will just give the value. That's what it means. x1 is 0, x9 is 0.8. You can see that. x1 is 0, the first element is 0, the last element is the ninth element, it is 0.8. And I'm picking the corresponding elements of f, alright? So the f value should also be 1 and 9. So I call trapz command giving these two x values and the corresponding f values. I get this to be the estimate. Now I'm using the trapezoid rule next based on h is equal to 0.4. So I'm considering two intervals. So instead of what I did in the past, what I'm now doing is I'm going to consider this data point, and this data point. So this is my one interval 0 to 0.4 and 0.4 to 0.8 is my second interval. So I'm using h is equal to 0.4. That means I am doing this, right? So this point should be connected to this point by a line. So I get this area as trapezium 1. Trapezium 2, right? I have to connect this to the next point. So my second trapezium is going to be this. So you can see I am missing out this area under the curve, right? I am overestimating it a bit here. And again, I am missing out this particular area under the curve. So there are some problems again. but it is better than the answer I would get when I took h to be 0.8. I just worked on the basis of 2 data points. Now, working on the basis of 3 data points, I should do better. So if you look at the answer, yes, it gets better. 1.0688. It is not as bad as this. But still, it is a far cry from 1.6405, whatever, right? This is the true value. So this is still much shorter than that. So there is a huge error in this estimate as well. So please note, for trapezoid rule, I choose points 1, 5 and 9, which corresponds to x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0.4 and x is equal to 0.8. Next, I consider 5 data points. That means I consider h is equal to 0.2. So I consider this point, this point, this point, this point and this point. So 5 points. Point 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. X values of 0, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. When I did it by hand, I got 1.4848. That is what I should get when MATLAB does it. So 1.4848. Better than the previous estimate because I've used more data points. Although I have stuck to the same trapezoid rule. So I've used data points 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, which stands for x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0.2, x is equal to 0.4, x is equal to 0.6, and x is equal to 0.8. And the corresponding f values. So TRAPZ function is very simple, right? So you pick the relevant x values and the corresponding f values. We are done. Now finally, I'm going to use the entire data set. That means I'm going to go for h is equal to 0.1, which is what we had in the original data. So far I thought, okay, I'll leave out some data points and let me see if I can get a good estimate of the integral. But as we expect, the more data points you include, the better it is. So now I'm working now with h is equal to 0.1. That means I'm going to take every point that's there, right? So h is equal to 0.1, this is the value. H is equal to 0.3, this is the value. H is equal to 0.5, let's say this is the value. H is equal to 0.7, this is the value. That's right. I'm drawing just some approximate things. So now the trapeziums will be this, and then this and this, this and this, this and this, and so on, right? So I hope you get the idea. So the trapeziums now basically cover the area under the curve tightly. All right, much better than before. Again, there are certain gaps, etc., certain places where it overestimates, etc. But in spite of that, it covers it pretty well. If you had infinite samples, we would get a great approximation to the curve. That is what will lead you to the analytical answer. But here we are working on the basis of just 9 data points, 8 intervals, so 8 trapeziums covering the 9 data points. So I get 1.6008. That's the best value of the integral I can estimate based on h is equal to 0.1. So I'm going to use all x values and all f values. So the trapz command becomes very simple. X comma f, trapz x comma f. I use everything. So I get this to be the answer. Now, if I applied Simpson's 1/3 rule using h is equal to 0.4, that means I'm using only 3 data points, specifically data points 1, 5 and 9. And you know the weights for Simpson's 1/3 rule are, when you have 3 data points, it is 1, 4 and 1. So this is the weight W1, W2, W3, the 3 weights. All right, corresponding to data point F0, F4 and F8. And this is h by 3 for 1/3 Simpson's rule. So this would produce the product of F1, which is nothing but F0 in our notation, but the first element of F with a weight of 1, the second element of F with a weight of 4, the third element of F with a weight of 1. Please look at Simpson's 1/3 rule. It is like h by 3 F0 times 1 plus 4 times F1 plus F2. This is what Simpson's 1/3 rule is for 3 data points. The notation there is F0, F1 and F2. Here in MATLAB, we cannot give an index of 0 for the array. So the first index in the array has to be F1. So this formula, when you translate it to our present case, where the data points are indicated by the symbol F1, F5 and F9. Those are the three successive data points with h is equal to 0.4 as the interval. So when you do that, just based on 3 points, I get 1.3675, something close to 1.3675. With 3 data points here, we could get only 1.0688. The same 3 data points. But using a higher order interpolating polynomial, which leads to Simpson's one-third rule, our estimate is quite good, 1.3675. And when you come to using 5 data points, that means h is equal to 0.2, x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0.2, x is equal to 0.4, x is equal to 0.6, x is equal to 0.8. You take these values, right? So data points 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And then you apply the Simpson's weights 1, 4, 2, 4, 1 for the 5 data points, and then h by 3. You will get 1.6234. Here we got only 1.4848, and the value 1.6234 is pretty close to this. So by the time we have used 5 data points, we have got very close to the true answer to the problem. Then when you do it with all the data points, h is 0.1 in that case, so h by 3, and then the f data, and then the weights will be 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1. Look at our lecture on Simpson's rule. You will see why it is written like this. Therefore, when you execute this, this turns out to be 1.6394 or 95, which is quite close to 1.6405, whatever, right? So this is pretty good. It is not quite the same, but it is pretty good. The reason is Simpson's one-third rule, right, would use a second order polynomial, because the Simpson's one-third rule is built on considering 3 data points. Therefore, the polynomial pieces that we are using is not quite the same as a fifth order polynomial, which is the true function. We are just using a second order polynomial in Simpson's one-third rule. But we are using more pieces of that, right? We are using many second order polynomial pieces to cover the entire range of these 9 data points. So that's a nice thing. But in any case, P2 is not P5. The true function is P5. Therefore, we expect some error. So that is what you see here. If you have more data points and therefore many P2s, then you will get closer to the answer, because many P2s can kind of fit the fifth order true function. Here is where I use the Boole's rule, which I just shared with you here. So 2h by 45. So here I'm using h is equal to 0.2. So I'm going to use only 5 data points. Not all of them, but 5 data points, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. X is equal to 0, x is equal to 0.2, x is equal to 0.4, x is equal to 0.6, and x is equal to 0.8. So h is equal to 0.2. So 2 times h by 45, the 5 f values, and these are the weights: 7, 32, 12, 32, 7. What you see right here, 7, 32, 12, 32, 7. So with that, you get this to be the answer. Absolutely nailed it almost, right? So this is pretty good. If you look at the true answer, it is 1.6405, 3 threes and then a 4. This is almost there, exactly there in fact. Boole's rule with h is equal to 0.2 works. You don't even have to use all the 8 data points. Just based on 5 data points, you get a fantastic answer. If you use Boole's rule with h is equal to 0.1, right? Boole's rule requires 5 data points. So x0, x1, x2, x3, x4, you can construct Boole's rule with that. Then on top of that, you add x4, x5, x6, x7, x8. All right. So for these 5 data points, you can have a Boole's estimate. For this, you can have a Boole's estimate. Please note that x4 is the interface. It appears both in the first domain as well as in the second domain. So if you look at the weights, 7, 32, 12, 32, it should be 7. And for the next polynomial also, it should be 7. For the next domain also it should be 7. So 7 and 7 adds up to 14. That is why the fifth data point, the f value corresponding to the fifth data point, has a weight of 14. It is actually 7 plus 7. This 7 plus another 7 because the next domain starts from exactly the same point. So when you do Boole's rule with h is equal to 0.1, you get exactly the same answer as you got with h is equal to 0.2. So this did not improve the estimates very much. So kindly remember all these numbers as we go along, right? So 0.1728, 1.0688, 1.4848, 1.6008. You may not remember all the numbers, but just refer back to these numbers as you look at these slides, right? So with Simpson's rule, we have 3 estimates. With Boole's rule, we have 4 estimates. By the time we come to Simpson's rule with h is equal to 0.1, we are almost there. Boole's rule, we have almost completely nailed it. Now, I've just arranged these numbers in a table, all right? So these are the estimates we got with trapezoidal rule for various h values. So I hope you remember this number. When we had h is equal to 0.8, we had 0.1728. H is equal to 0.4, trapezoid rule gave us 1.0688, etc. So you have these 4 numbers that you obtained from trapezoidal rule. This labeling is right? When h is equal to 0.8, it was 0.1728. H is equal to 0.4, it was 1.0688. H is equal to 0.2, we got 1.4848, which is what you see here, as well as in this diagram here. And when h is equal to 0.1, trapezoid rule gave us 1.6008. So that's all arranged in this column. So this h is, we call as j is equal to 1, or rho is equal to 1. This row is second row, this row is third row, this row is fourth row. So we know the reason why we call it j. J stands for the row and k stands for the column. So k is equal to 1 stands for the trapezoid rule results at these different h values. And the error for trapezoid rule is of the order of h squared. Now, what you see here in the second column are the estimates of Simpson's rule for different values of h. When h is equal to 0.4, we got 1.3674. When h is equal to 0.2, we got 1.6234. When h is equal to 0.1, we got 1.6394667. So these are the 3 numbers that we got from Simpson's rule. Except that we have pushed it up. This number, right, actually we got for h is equal to 0.1. But we have just written it there. Doesn't matter. This is for h is equal to 0.1. This is for h is equal to 0.2. This is for h is equal to 0.4 with Simpson's rule. With Simpson's rule, h is equal to 0.8 will not work because that would just mean 2 data points, and Simpson's rule requires 3 data points. So that's understood. Now the results from Boole's rule with h is equal to 0.2 and 0.1 are listed in this column. So this number is from h is equal to 0.1. This number is from h is equal to 0.2. These are the answers that we got by applying the individual rules, but we have just put it in the form of a matrix like this. So the first column, to just reiterate, is from trapezoidal rule, the results. The second part is from Simpson's 1/3 rule. The third part is from Boole's rule, or what is called Newton-Cotes formula. I'll just clean it up. Same numbers, nothing changes. Now, what if I told you that once you get this particular column, that means results, by solving the integral using trapezoid rule, which is very, very easy to apply, right? So trapezoid rule is based on linear approximation. It's very easy to apply. But I solved the problem using trapezoid rule at 4 different grid sizes. These are the 4 grid sizes I solved the problem with. Once I have this, I can automatically generate the results of Simpson's rules and the Boole's rule or Newton-Cotes formulae using this formula. So this formula is due to Romberg, who did this thing called Romberg extrapolation. That means extrapolate the results from several solutions of trapezoid rule to get the results of higher order rules like Simpson's rule and Boole's rule. So if you take the results from trapezoid rule and you correct it, you get trapezoid type error correction leading to the results of the Simpson's one-third rule. If you take these, the results from Simpson's rule, and apply this formula, you can generate the results from Boole's rule. So you are taking the results of Simpson's rule and you are applying an error correction. You get the results of Boole's rule. This is exactly what we did when we had formulae like this in the previous presentation. I hope you still remember this. Or you definitely remember 4i2 minus i1 by 3. This is when you had two estimates from trapezoid rule and you can get the results of Simpson's rule by applying this formula. So solve the problem twice using trapezoid rule with two different grid sizes, with grid size ratio being 2. And if you then apply this formula, you will get the answers with the accuracy of Simpson's one-third rule. So this is what we have learned, and we also saw this formula. From Simpson's rule, we can get a higher accuracy estimate. That higher accuracy estimate is nothing but the Boole's or Newton-Cotes formula accuracy. And this is the formula. As you can see, just as an example, when k is equal to 2, 4 to the power of k minus 1 will be 4 to the power of 1 minus 1, which is going to be 3. And at k is equal to 2, this is going to be 4 to the power of 2 minus 1, which is 4. So when k is equal to 3, 4 to the power of k minus 1 will be 4 to the power of 2, which will be 16 minus 1, which is 15. And 4 to the power of k minus 1 will be 4 to the power of 2, which is 16. So we have already seen a glimpse of these kinds of formulae that seem to magically improve the estimate of the integral. That means we are going to be able to reduce the error by doing these things. Now we can formalize that into a formula like this. So the ideas have been already introduced to you. This is just new notation and introduction to the name Romberg. So in the next few slides, I have just tried to show some sample calculations. I will not go too much into the details, but I'll just outline a bit. So these are the results with trapezoid rule. This is j is equal to 1, right? So this number 0.1728 is nothing but I1, always the row. So j is 1. All right, j is 1 and k is 1 here. All the results from trapezoid rule have k is equal to 1. So therefore 0.1728 is I1 comma 1. 1.0688, this result from trapezoid rule is I2 comma 1 because it belongs to the second row and it belongs to the first column. So this 1.4868 is I31, 1.6008 is I4 comma 1. That's the notation. Now we want to find out I1 comma 2. Let's pretend that the other entries, these are not there. These are not there. We are still trying to calculate them. All we have is the results of k is equal to 1. So now I'm trying to find out I1 comma 2. That means what is the value of the integral if I apply Simpson's one-third rule for h is equal to 0.4. So as you move to the right, go down one step in h. So h is equal to 0.4 is the coarsest grid size possible with Simpson's rule. Likewise, h is equal to 0.2 is the coarsest grid size. You can go ahead with Boole's rule. Just remember that. So this is I1 comma 2 that we need to find out. The first row, and we are looking for k is equal to 2, the second column, which is the Simpson's rule column. So if you put I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 2, you are getting I1 comma 2 is equal to something, right? So we will get a value for this number now. So I1 comma 2 comes out to be equal to, wherever k is there, I put 2 because we are looking at k is equal to 2. Wherever j is there, I put 1. So when I do that, I get this expression, and upon simplifying the notation, I get 4 to the power of 2 minus 1 is 4. I1 plus 1 comma 2 minus 1 is nothing but I2 comma 1, and then this is I11 and the denominator is 3. So I21, so I take this number, this is I21 multiplied by 4, and I subtract I11, which is 0.1728, and divide by 3. I get 1.3674667. So that is this value. So apply again to find out this number. This is the location I2 2 because it is in the second row in this particular array, and we are still in the second column. So I2 comma 2. So if you put I is equal to 2 and k is equal to 2 in this expression, you can get the right hand side in terms of I31 and I21. So you apply that formula and you will get this number. So this corresponds to Simpson's 1/3 rule, h is equal to 0.2. If you want I32, which is the value of the integral, you will get applying Simpson's 1/3 rule with h is equal to 0.1. You will get I32 as a function of I41 and I31. A similar looking formula, you will get this number. So just from the knowledge of the first column, we have got the second column. Now we can go on to find the elements of the third column, which is going to be the results you will get if you applied Boole's rule. So you're trying to find out I13 and I23. So wherever you see J, put 1. Wherever you see K, put 3, because K is equal to 3 column is what we are trying to find out. We still do not know these numbers. We are trying to fill it in. Though I've displayed the answer there, pretend that we are calculating it. So if you apply K is equal to 3 here, because it's the third column, so you're going to get 16 times some I minus some I divided by 16 minus 1, which is 15. So if you apply it to J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 3, you're going to get this formula. And then if you put in the values from this column, the corresponding values from this column, you're going to get this value, which is this. Again, you can find out I23. So I23 will be in terms of I32 and I22, as you can imagine, with weights 16 and 1 and divided by 15. So you can get it, and you will find it to be this. To just finish off, this is the Boole's result you will get with h is equal to 0.2. This is the Boole's result you get with h is equal to 0.1. Again, the beauty is just from trapezoid rule, applying Romberg extrapolation, you can get the results of Simpson's rule, and from Simpson's rule you can get the estimates from Boole's rule. So you can keep increasing the accuracy. So it's like this, you solve a problem approximately in 4 different ways. With that, you are able to improve the accuracy by a clever formula like this. There is a larger principle here. This is sometimes called productive failure. All these 4 estimates were bad. It may be deemed as failures. But when you look at those numbers in a different way and organize them in a certain structure, which Romberg did here, you are able to generate successes out of those 4 failures. With that, I'll stop this presentation and thank you for your time.